Okay, we are here at things to consider when picking out trees for your land. Microclimates. Now you have studied your sun exposure and the orientation of the terrain. Make sure the tree will receive appropriate sunlight and the required chill hours. So slopes facing the Earth's north and south poles. So if you're in the northern half of the planet, the slopes that face north, or if you're in the southern half of the planet, the slopes that face south. They're facing, they have milder sunlight and cooler temperatures, and that makes them suitable for plants with high chill requirements and those that suffer when they get intense heat. But then on the other hand, slopes that are facing the Earth's equator receive the most sun and are generally hotter and drier. So that makes it great for, as a microclimate, for trees that want a little more sunlight. And then east facing slopes will have morning sun and less afternoon sun. So the sunlight is mild there. And then west facing slopes will get less morning sun and more hot afternoon sun hours, especially during the long days of summer. So those are considerations for slopes, little microclimates of slopes. And then soils is the next thing to consider. Many trees prefer neutral or slightly acidic soils, but some do well in alkaline soil. And also important is soil structures. Some soils that are too tightly compacted will resist root penetration and slow the passage of water and nutrients into the soil. And that inhibits the free movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the soil. But some trees can do fine in heavy clay, and some do better in well-drained sandy soils. Some tolerate dry southern exposure, or they prefer a cooler exposure. So these are all considerations, and you can put these on your list of things to check into when checking for trees that fit on your land. And also, one of the easiest ways to do it is if you can see a nearby similar site that already has trees growing, they are a good indicator of your site, your soil conditions, and specific trees that may do well on your land. Keep in mind, though, that soil conditions can vary from one neighborhood to another, or even one street to another. So you want to find some comparable soil conditions and see what's growing in those areas with the similar soil. And of course, the goal here is to plant suitable trees for the location. In other words, plant tree species that grow well in your area and under the conditions of your site. Planting density and arrangement that refers to the pattern or distribution of trees and shrubs species across the planting site. Planting density refers to how far apart we space the trees when we plant them. Typical spacing is around 8 feet apart for dwarf trees and about 15 feet apart for large trees. Tree farms or orchards will generally, if they have machines going through their orchards, they give a much wider space between the rows so that they can drive their machinery through there. In a food forest, we generally don't have that going on, so we can plant a little more densely. So that's why I say 8 feet is good. And this spacing allows the trees to branch out sideways and make the collecting the fruit easier. So the more densely you plant the trees, the more trees you can grow in your space, but the more pruning they will require. But pruning is a good thing, though. It trains the plants to put down deeper roots and provides you, the food forester, with more plant material to use as mulch on the soil surface. And we'll go into how we turn our trimmings into mulch in that section. Now, diversity. Include diverse species in your food forest or tree species to ensure that the site is less prone to insect attacks and diseases. The planting will also provide a habitat for various wildlife. Diversity is one of the best ways to prevent predators from destroying crops. And then also you can leave open areas. Leave yourself some full sun meadow areas for growing your favorite annual veggies and berries. And also for little walking paths, maybe a medicine wheel or a fountain or whatever fun thing you want to have. Your place doesn't have to all be covered in trees. You can have like meadow areas, and then they allow sunlight into the trees that are just behind them. So it's fun and gives you some great variety in growing spaces. And then the last consideration we have here is succession. Planting varieties of fruit and nut trees that ripen successfully at different times of the year broadens your stream of food income. Plant some types that ripen early in spring, early summer, late summer, early fall, late fall. And in warm climates, some fruits ripen in winter. By planting trees that ripen in succession, you'll have crops to enjoy most or all of the year. So those are considerations for planting trees. These would be good things to put in your spreadsheet to check out, also like check the boxes to see which trees fit which categories. Okay, great job, food forester.